You're at a wine bar on a Thursday night. Not a club, not a party, just one of those dim-lit places where everyone has a career and a mortgage. You're standing by the bar waiting on your drink, minding your own business, and you feel it before you even see it. This gorgeous woman in her late 30s or early 40s glances your way. Not a quick look, a slow, assessing, I noticed you kind of look. She turns back to her friend, twirls the stem of her glass, laughs, but her body angles towards you just slightly. She doesn't smile right away, she doesn't make it obvious, but she stays in your line of sight. You tell yourself you imagined it. She's older, she's probably taken, she's just confident, right? Except then she walks past you, deliberately slower than necessary, close enough that you catch a hint of her perfume. Close enough that if either of you shifted an inch, your shoulders would touch. She doesn't say a word. Just a small smile as she passes, like she's giving you permission to notice her, like she's saying, if you want to speak to me, I won't make it difficult. You still hesitate, because younger women chase attention. They flirt loudly, giggle, perform attraction. But older women, they signal differently. They've lived long enough to know how to be subtle while still being intentional. They don't need to impress you. They need to see if you are worth their time, if you're emotionally grown, if you can match their energy. And so the signs they give aren't loud, they're precise. A lingering goodbye, an unsolicited message, a tiny detail she remembers that you forgot you mentioned, a compliment that isn't about how you look, but who you are. And the craziest part? Most men never notice any of this, not because the signs aren't there, but because you're still looking for 22-year-old signals, playful immaturity, obvious flirting, direct validation. Older women don't move like that. They don't broadcast desire. They reveal it to men who are paying attention. So before you tell yourself she's just being friendly, pause. If she's over 35 and interested, she's going to show it, just not in the ways you were trained to notice. Part 1. The energy shift. Think about what actually changes in a room when someone is attracted to you, not what they say, but what happens before words even enter the picture. Older women rarely initiate with words first. They lead with presence. They lead with energy. And if you're paying attention, you'll notice the shift before she ever opens her mouth. Picture this. You walk into a shared space, a meeting, a cafe, the gym, a group dinner. She's already there, fully immersed in whatever she's doing. She's composed, focused, maybe laughing with friends or working on her laptop. But the second she sees you, something subtle recalibrates. Her posture changes. Not dramatically, not theatrically, but enough for her body to signal that she's suddenly more aware of her environment. Her shoulders pull back, her chin lifts slightly, she straightens her spine. Without thinking, she positions herself in a way that makes her look her best. It's instinctual, not performative. Older women rarely perform attraction. They allow it to show. And then there's the eyes. You won't get rapid, nervous glances like with younger girls who don't know what to do with their impulses. Instead, you'll get a look that lingers, a glance that holds half a second longer than normal, followed by a composed break of eye contact. Not coyness, but control. She's not trying to hide the fact that she sees you. She's trying to see if you see her back. If a younger woman's gaze says, "Do you like me?" An older woman's gaze says, "Are you someone worth being interested in?" That's the difference. Now here's where men get confused. Older women aren't trying to win you. They're evaluating. They want to know if engaging with you is worth the emotional effort, the social cost, the time investment. You're not just attractive, you're a potential complication. That makes their attraction cautious but intentional. So when she shifts her attention toward you, even slightly, that shift matters more because she had to choose it. Watch what happens next. She keeps you in her peripheral awareness. If you move across the room, she tracks it without turning her head. If you join a conversation nearby, she angles her body so your voices overlap. She may stay fully engaged in what she's doing, but part of her attention is tethered to you. And here's the real tell. If you leave, the energy drops. You'll notice she relaxes, settles back into whatever she was doing, maybe even gets quieter, because the shift wasn't about the room, it was about you being in it. This is the first doorway older women create. Not words, not gestures, but a change in presence. Your job isn't to assume that means she wants you. Your job is to show you noticed. and see if she lets the door open wider. Part 2. She puts herself in your orbit. Attraction isn't always expressed through words or flirtation. Sometimes it shows up in patterns. And one of the biggest ways older women show interest is by repeatedly positioning themselves where you naturally cross paths. Not in a clingy, chasing way. In a quiet, calculated, I'll give him opportunities without risking rejection way. See, older women don't hang around men accidentally. They don't waste time. Their days are structured, deliberate, shaped by responsibilities younger women often don't have. Career obligations, kids, appointments, deadlines. So when a woman over 35 keeps appearing near you repeatedly, that's not randomness. It's intention wrapped in coincidence. For example, maybe you always grab coffee at 8:30 before work. At first, she's never there. Then one day she shows up around the same time. Then again. Then every time. And she smiles when she sees you as if she just happened to be passing through the universe at that exact moment. Or the gym. You've gone for months without seeing her. Suddenly, she's using the equipment next to yours, taking the same class, stretching on the mat right where you finish your workout. She's not asking you to talk to her. She's offering the chance. And pay attention to how she navigates shared environments. A younger woman might sit right next to you to make it obvious. An older woman knows that would feel too forward, too exposed. So instead, she'll sit close enough that conversation is easy, but not close enough that people would assume anything. On the surface, she's just being social, but she's choosing where to sit with precision. Watch for alignment over randomness. If you move across the room, she eventually drifts that way too. If you join a circle of people, she ends up in that circle. If you step outside to take a call, she follows a couple minutes later just to get some air. When something happens once, it's coincidence. When it happens consistently, it's signal. And here's the part most men miss. She's doing this because she wants you to initiate, not because she's passive, but because she's navigating the risks. Professional judgment, social assumptions, her own reputation. She wants to show interest without making the first move overtly. She wants to feel chosen, not exposed. So what should you do? Meet her halfway. If she keeps placing herself near you, start conversations. Make eye contact. Tease lightly. Introduce yourself properly if you haven't. If she stays engaged, if she leans in, if her presence doesn't pull away, that's your green light to escalate. Older women won't chase you, but they will create openings. The question is whether you're paying attention. Part 3. The digital signals are intentional. If younger women use digital communication for entertainment, older women use it for connection. A 21-year-old might text 10 guys at once, leave everyone on read, pop into your DM only when she's bored, then disappear for a week. It's chaotic, impulsive, attention-driven. Women over 35 don't move like that. Their time is rationed. Their attention is selective. Their messaging has purpose, not boredom behind it. So when she reaches out, especially consistently, that's a significant signal. The first thing to notice is timing. If she only messages during work hours, only responds to what you say, and never initiates outside the predictable context, that might just be politeness. But if she texts you on a Sunday morning, a Thursday night, or right before bed, when no one messages just coworkers, she's not thinking about you because she has to. She's thinking about you because she wants to. Older women don't stay up late texting men they feel neutral about. Their sleep matters too much. The second thing to watch is tone. Older women don't waste emotional energy on empty conversation. If she's texting you about random thoughts, sending memes, asking for your opinions, or following up on things you mentioned once in passing, she's building a personal connection, not a surface-level chat. She shifts from, "How was your day?" to, "I remembered you had that presentation. How did it go?" That shift is investment. Then there's frequency. Attraction from mature women doesn't usually explode into constant messaging overnight. Instead, it grows steadily. She starts by replying faster, then initiating half the time, then checking in when she doesn't hear from you. Her effort ramps as her comfort increases. One of the biggest clues is continuity. She doesn't let conversations die. She keeps the thread alive, not through forced flirting, but through curiosity and emotional engagement. She listens, she remembers, she references things from weeks ago. That's not texting, It's relationship building. And we can't ignore social media. Women over 35 aren't scrolling for validation the way younger women might. They're not firing off likes to every guy's story. So when she engages online, liking photos quickly, watching every story from start to finish, commenting with actual words, not just emojis, reacting to something specific you said, that's attention, not habit. Now here's the subtle part most guys miss. When a mature woman is interested, she won't just respond, she'll create openings. She'll send something that requires a response, a question, a thought, a shared interest, a recommendation. She's not handing you a confession, she's handing you a key. Your job is to turn that key, ask her out, escalate the tone, deepen the conversation. Older women communicate interest digitally with intention. The messages are windows. Don't stare through them, step through. Part 4. She tests your emotional maturity. A younger woman might be attracted because you look good, you're fun, or you give her attention. A woman over 35 may notice those things, but they are not enough to sustain attraction. She has lived through relationships, breakups, maybe marriage, maybe divorce. She's seen the difference between a man who looks like one and a man who lives like one. So before she lets herself invest emotionally, she tests. Not in a manipulative way, more like verifying that your maturity matches the chemistry she feels. Here's how those tests actually unfold. It usually starts with subtle emotional disclosures. Nothing heavy or dramatic, just personal moments dropped into conversation. A story about her past, a childhood memory, a moment she struggled, a fear she's learned to overcome. She's not dumping trauma. She's watching how you respond to vulnerability, whether you brush it off, rush to fix it, get uncomfortable, or meet her where she is with presence. She's gauging your emotional capacity because someone who can't sit with feelings can't connect deeply. Next, she watches how you handle your own emotions. A small frustration, a plan falling through, someone disagreeing with you. Younger men often react impulsively. Anger, withdrawal, bravado, sarcasm. She's watching whether you crumble, lash out, or stay grounded. A mature woman is attracted to calm strength, not volatility. Another subtle test. She introduces complexity. Maybe she expresses a strong opinion, challenges something you said, or disagrees in a way that forces you to stand on your own perspective. She wants to see whether you can handle pushback without losing composure or needing dominance to feel powerful. Disagreement doesn't threaten her, immaturity does. Then there's the future implication test. She'll casually mention concerns like age gap relationships can get complicated. People make assumptions when they see a younger man with an older woman. Sometimes guys just want the experience, not the relationship. These statements aren't doubts. They're probes. She wants your reaction. Does the topic make you retreat? Do you minimize it? Do you overcompensate with bravado? Or can you acknowledge reality without flinching? She's not testing if you're fearless. She's testing if you're stable. And one of the biggest signals, she watches how you treat others. Not just her, the barista, your friends, a stranger. If your kindness collapses when there's nothing to gain, she notices. If you're respectful only upward, not downward, that tells her everything. Older women don't want a project, they want a partner. These tests aren't about making you prove yourself. They're about confirming that her attraction is safe to pursue. If you pass them, not theatrically, not performatively, but simply by being grounded, her walls lower, her signals intensify. The dynamic shifts from curiosity to possibility, because once she sees emotional maturity, she stops holding back. Part 5. The body language isn't loud. Its deliberate attraction has a physical dimension long before it becomes verbal. But while younger women might be obvious, touching you constantly, giggling, leaning in dramatically, older women operate with refinement. Their lives have demanded professionalism, restraint, composure. They know how to hide interest, but they also know how to reveal it intentionally, in ways subtle enough to deny, yet clear enough for a man who's paying attention. So when a woman over 35 is attracted to you, the signals show up in her body before her words ever catch up. Start with orientation. If she positions her body toward you, shoulders angled in, hips pointed your way, torso open. She's inviting connection even when she's talking to other people. A woman who isn't interested will face away, cross her arms, lean back, or keep her body closed. Attraction opens posture, neutrality closes it. Then there's proximity. An older woman won't invade your space like a teenager with nothing to lose. Instead, she'll stand slightly closer than social norms dictate. Not close enough for others to notice, but close enough that you feel her presence. If she consistently enters that intimate range where you could easily touch her without leaning in, she's not just comfortable, she's signaling. Touch is where the divide becomes obvious. Younger girls touch instinctively. Older women touch with purpose. Every physical contact is measured. A hand on your forearm when she laughs, fingers brushing your sleeve in conversation, fixing your collar or removing invisible lint, a hug that lingers just half a second longer than necessary. None of these are accidents. They're probes, her way of saying, I'm open, but I want to see how you respond. If you pull away, she'll retreat. If you reciprocate gently, not grabbing or sexualizing too fast, she'll escalate. Eye contact is another giveaway. Older women don't dart their eyes like nervous teens. Their gaze is slow, steady, assessing. She may hold eye contact longer than typical, then break it with a subtle smile, not shyness, but acknowledgement. If the conversation pauses and she lets silence stretch instead of filling it, she's not uncomfortable. She's savoring connection. Now look for micro-preening, hair adjustments, smoothing clothing, applying lip balm, checking a reflection. These small movements aren't vanity. They're subconscious attempts to appear attractive in your presence. The key is frequency. Doing it once means nothing. Doing it every time you're near means she cares how she's perceived. And here's the deepest layer. When attraction is real, her guard drops. Older women are experts at emotional distance. Years of career environments, dating experiences, and social expectations train them to stay composed. If she softens around you, relaxes her shoulders, laughs more freely, lets emotion show on her face, she's not just comfortable, she feels safe. Most men miss these cues because they expect dramatic signals, but mature attraction is quiet, controlled, and expressed through small doors you're meant to notice and walk through, because once you signal back, she doesn't hold back. Part 6. She creates one-on-one moments without calling them dates. When a woman over 35 is interested, she doesn't throw herself at you. She doesn't corner you at a bar or say, "So, want to go out with me?" The stakes are higher for her, socially, professionally, emotionally. She has more to lose by misjudging your interest. So instead of declaring anything outright, she engineers private moments where connection can unfold naturally. Not forced, not labeled, just two people spending time together, alone. This looks subtle from the outside, but it's intentional. She might start by extending a moment that was already happening. You're talking after a meeting and she lingers. Everyone else leaves, but she keeps the conversation going until you're the last two in the room. Not because the topic is that important, but because the situation feels good and she doesn't want it to end. She creates a private bubble inside a public space. The next step is creating plausible excuses for one-on-one plans, not dates, reasons. She'll say things like, "We should grab coffee to finish this conversation." "You'd appreciate this museum exhibit? Want to check it out?" "I have an extra ticket to this event. Come with me." Notice she rarely frames it as romantic. She presents an opportunity, then quietly watches whether you take initiative to turn it into something more. She's opening the door just enough for you to step through without forcing you. Older women have learned the difference between asking for company and asking for commitment. They don't need promises, they need clarity. Another sign, she redirects group plans into private ones. Maybe a group was supposed to join, but suddenly everyone cancels and she still wants to go with you. Maybe she suggests you arrive early to beat the crowd or stay late to catch up. Maybe she chooses seating that isolates you two just slightly. A booth, a corner table, seats side by side instead of across. She's not just making time, she's curating space. And pay attention to how she behaves in these one-on-one moments. She goes deeper. She asks personal questions she wouldn't ask in a group. She listens more intently. She makes eye contact longer. She invites you into her inner world, not just the version she shows publicly. But here's the key. She'll only keep creating these moments if you reciprocate. If you stay passive, she eventually pulls back. Not because she lost interest, but because she won't pursue a man who won't choose her. If you show up with effort, planning the next meetup, suggesting time together, escalating the energy, she relaxes and lets her interests surface more clearly. One-on-one time is where attraction becomes undeniable. It's where she lets her guard soften, where flirtation sharpens, where the connection stops being theoretical and becomes real. She's not waiting for you to guess. She's giving you the stage. The question is whether you step into it. Part 7. She doesn't treat you like everyone else. There's a moment in every connection where you stop wondering whether she's just being friendly and start feeling something more intentional, something selective. With older women, that shift doesn't happen through dramatic confessions or obvious seduction. It happens when she stops relating to you as a general acquaintance and starts relating to you differently than she relates to anyone else. That difference is the giveaway. A woman over 35 can be warm, social, charismatic, thoughtful. Those qualities might extend to everyone around her. But attraction is asymmetrical. It bends energy toward one person, not the room. So the real signal isn't how she treats you, it's how she treats others compared to you. She might be polite to everyone, but with you, she's present. When you speak, she doesn't just listen. She tracks you. She asks follow-up questions. She remembers details. She brings those details back later. She invests mentally in who you are, not just what you say. She prioritizes you in subtle ways too. If you walk into a group conversation, she shifts to include you. If multiple people speak at once, she responds to your comment first. If there's limited seating, she chooses the one next to you. None of this is loud enough to raise eyebrows, but it's unmistakable once you notice the distinctions. Another sign, she shares parts of herself she doesn't offer casually. Personal stories, regrets, dreams she still hasn't pursued, thoughts she says she hasn't told anyone. When a mature woman opens her inner world, it's never random. She's inviting you to see her fully, not just socially. Contrast that with how she handles just friends. Friends get surface-level updates. Busy week, funny meme, casual plans. You get emotional access, her worries, her growth, her transitions, her vulnerability. Friends get convenience. You get effort. And you'll notice something else. She guards the dynamic. If another woman interacts with you, laughs, touches your arm, gives you attention, she won't cause a scene. She won't compete publicly. But her energy shifts. She becomes more attentive or more distant, more present or more withdrawn. Not out of insecurity, but because she's invested. That subtle emotional shift is territorial in the quietest way. A woman who sees you platonically doesn't flinch when someone else gets close. A woman who's attracted to you notices every threat to connection. The biggest distinction comes through boundaries, or rather, the absence of distancing language. If she doesn't see you romantically, she makes that clear to protect both of you. She'll say things like, "You're like a brother to me. You remind me of my nephew. You're such a good friend." Older women don't leave ambiguity on purpose unless there's attraction. If those phrases never come, even when the opportunity is there, that silence speaks louder than flirtation. And once she signals that you're not just another person in her orbit, the dynamic isn't casual anymore. It's selective, intentional, and loaded with potential. That's when you stop waiting for permission and start leading the connection forward. Because she's already chosen you, now she's waiting to see if you choose her back. Attraction from a woman over 35 isn't chaotic, impulsive, or loud. It's refined. It's measured. It's offered in layers that deepen only when she feels safe, respected, and seen. She's not looking to chase you. She's looking to choose you if you show her that choice is worth making. She signals with proximity, subtle touches, emotional depth, delayed eye contact, private invitations, consistent investment, and selective vulnerability. She opens doors quietly, gives you opportunities gently, and waits to see if you're the kind of man who notices what's happening right in front of him. Not because she lacks confidence, but because she has dignity. She knows what it costs to care about someone. She's not gambling her time or reputation on a man who won't step forward. So if you want her, don't wait for certainty. Certainty isn't given, it's created. Initiate the next conversation. Move from casual to personal. Turn coffee into a date, not a coincidence. Match her effort. Reciprocate her depth. Make your interest known with clarity, not hesitation. You're not competing with younger men. You're competing with her peace. And the moment she realizes you're a source of stability, confidence, and emotional maturity, not just attraction, everything changes. That's when she stops holding back. That's when attraction turns into connection. That's when curiosity becomes chemistry. That's when she lets herself actually fall. She's already signaling. The question isn't, is she interested? The question is, are you man enough to respond?